July 19th, 2004. A multi-day binge on cocaine, Xanax, and alcohol would lead to a man desperately trying to prolong the high. He would scope out a convenience store clerk, taking out the garbage. The employee would be stabbed 29 times, all for $1.25. The victim left 9 kids without a father. There were 2 other accomplices who received lengthy sentences, but the man who did the stabbing received a death sentence, which was carried out by the state of Texas. On this episode of Chasing Killers, we'll be exploring the life of John Henry Ramirez. Let's get into it. Ramirez was born on June 29, 1984. His story begins in Houston, Texas, where he resided with his mother and siblings, with his grandmother living nearby. He grew up in dysfunction, suffering trauma due to his living situation. His mother was stabbed by her boyfriend in front of him, but survived. Ramirez's mother also physically abused him. Eventually, Child Protective Services would become involved and remove him from the home. He would be placed with his grandmother. The family would eventually move to Corpus Christi, Texas, the city of this crime. He would have disciplinary and behavior issues in school, and by middle school, he was living a life of juvenile delinquency. Following high school, he joined the Marines, but this didn't last. Ramirez was kicked out of the Marines after fighting a superior officer, and he would return to his partying lifestyle. It wouldn't be long until he would murder an innocent man. Ramirez and 2 women went to a convenience store to rob the worker for money to keep the wild night of partying going. After stabbing the victim and taking what little money he had, they would flee. The 2 accomplices were immediately apprehended, but Ramirez would go on the run for years. He would leave the country and seek refuge in Mexico, becoming an international fugitive. There he would live his life as normal, even starting a family. His heir would come when he would return to the United States with his girlfriend to have their child. He would remain in the US and be captured on February 20th, 2008 by the US Marshals. The trial would begin in December of that same year. Another worker at the store testified, "I told him he was going to be alright. I had no idea what to do." Ramirez would be positively identified by 2 workers at the store as the attacker. He would be found guilty and the penalty phase would begin. Ramirez would seem to give up, almost seemingly knowing what his fate would be. He instructed his attorneys to present 1 verse of scripture from the Bible to the jury. Psalms 51:3. "For I acknowledge my transgressions, and my sin is ever before me." The jury would not be swayed by his biblical argument. On December 8th, 2008, he would receive his sentence, death. One of the children of the victims told the media, "He's getting what he deserves." Before we move on to his time on death row, hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoy my death row profiles. Ramirez would be transferred to Allen B. Polunsky Unit, a prison within the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, which houses death row for men. Of course, the appeals would come, and they would all fail, including one in 2011. In a strange move, the new district attorney of Nueces County, Texas, Mark Gonzalez, would ask a judge to withdraw the death warrant, noting that it had been requested by mistake. Gonzalez considers the death penalty unethical. The judge and subsequent Texas Court of Criminal Appeals would disagree, and the execution would still stand. As his date was getting closer, he would request that his pastor be at his side during his execution. Texas would deny his request. Ramirez would file suit, saying his rights were being violated under the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act and Free Exercise Clause of the First Amendment. On September 8th, 2021, the U.S. Supreme Court would stay his execution, pending the ruling of the court. On March 24, 2022, the court ruled in his favor, which would allow his pastor to be present with him. This did not stop his execution. October 5th, 2022 would be his last day on planet Earth. That afternoon, he was transported from the Polunsky Unit to the Huntsville Unit, where executions take place. Ramirez would be walked into the death chamber with his pastor at his side. He would deliver a final statement, part of which focused on the victim's family. "I have regret and remorse. This is such a heinous act. I hope this finds you comfort. If this helps you, then I am glad. I hope in some shape or form this helps you find closure." It would end with, "I am ready, Warden." Ramirez would receive the lethal injection, and after 14 minutes, he would be pronounced dead at 6:41 p.m. local time. The son of the victim said, "A life taken away is not to be celebrated, but closure can definitely take place." This was a Chasing Killers profile of John Henry Ramirez. Thanks for watching. See you next time.